So this is what we call the ultrastructure, because we can see all of these structures here, which are called organelles, and they're membrane-bound compartments in the cells that have specific functions depending on their cell type. That's why we can see there's differences between the animal cell and the plant cell, because they have different organelles depending on their function. So going through it, we can instantly see that there's differences between these two cells. First of all, the animal cell, and the plant cell. Let's look at what these two have in common. So first of all, they both contain a nucleus, and I shall be showing you these definitions at the end, but just for a short explainer, the nucleus controls activities of cells and contains contains the genetic material. So the nucleus is what controls all the cell's activities, and it also contains the genetic material. The cell membrane. Now, we can see the cell membrane as the outer layer on the animal cell. However, it's not the very outer layer on the plant cell. It's got another layer in green, which we can see, but we'll be taking a look at that in a second. The cell membrane, though, its job is to control what substances enter and leave the cell. Next, we have the cytoplasm. Now, the cytoplasm is just this blue that you can see is almost filling in the space between our organelles. And the job of the cytoplasm is the location. It's the location of many chemical reactions, or the site of chemical reactions, and that's pretty important to remember. Now, going on to our next, we have the mitochondria, which are again in both the animal and plant cell. And the job of the mitochondria is it's the site of aerobic respiration. So this is where most of the cell's energy, or ATP, is produced. If you don't know what ATP is, that is totally fine, because we will be taking a look at it later. So do not worry at all about that right now. But all you need to know for now is that it's the site of aerobic respiration. Next, let's look at the ribosomes. So the ribosomes are these collection of black dots you see here, 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 and here. And what they are is the site of protein synthesis. So the ribosomes is where the proteins are produced. And again, I get it's annoying, but we will be looking at this in a later topic for protein synthesis. And next, let's just look at what the plant cell contains that the animal cell does not, because they all have these in common. However, there are some structures that they do not share, such as the cell wall. The job of the cell wall is on the outside of the cell membrane, and it supports and strengthens the cell. Quite easy to remember this, because it's called a cell wall, and this is called a cell membrane. This is a cell wall, so it supports and strengthens the cell. And in plants, it's really important to remember it's made of cellulose, because in the cells we'll see next, there is cell walls, but they're not made of cellulose. So for plants, it is made of cellulose. Next, we have our chloroplasts, which again are only in plant cells. And this is because chloroplasts are the site of photosynthesis. So where plants produce their own food from the light provided by the sun, but we'll be looking at that in the photosynthesis lessons. But it's quite logical why they're in plant cells and not animal cells, because animal cells don't need to carry out photosynthesis because they can get food in other ways. Plants cannot, so they have to make their own using chloroplasts. And finally, the vacuole. The vacuole, again, it's only in plants, and it's this big structure we see here, and its job is it's a big sac that contains water or sap, and it's basically just storage for the plant cell to store water and sap. So let's go ahead and take a look at our next two types of cells.